It's honest. But again, I want to see them fight. I want to see some aggression. Tank would have that if it was anyone he actually felt was worth it. I just don't know if he thinks Jake's worth it. Again, I get that feeling that he just is there.
Yeah, in terms of sparring, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson, Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty south.
Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Bruce is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout?
Jake Paul's latest tactic brings Shakur Stevenson into his training camp for sparring ahead of his showdown with Gervonta Davis. Paul mentioned Stevenson personally volunteered to join, which gives more weight to his preparations. He explained that his camp has recruited several skilled southpaws, smaller fighters yet capable of providing the proper looks. Shakur's name stood out since no earlier connection existed between him and Paul. Still, Paul believes that working with Stevenson and the others will sharpen his skills as he prepares for Tank. Some experts have raised...
In terms of sparring, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson, Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty.
Some experts have raised concerns about the sudden link between Jake Paul and Shakur Stevenson, calling it suspicious and unusual. They claim Stevenson has essentially sold himself for sparring work, similar to how Jaron Boots Ennis once helped Canelo Alvarez train for Terence Crawford. What makes this situation different is the total lack of past ties between Stevenson and Paul. Boots had history with Canelo through family contacts, making the deal easier to understand. In Shakur's case, there is no shared background with Paul, so critics assume money must be the reason. The belief is that Paul offered Stevenson serious financial incentives to join. This fuels debates about whether Stevenson's choice is purely business-related rather than boxing-driven, since it creates an odd partnership with no prior link. Shakur Stevenson
reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Bruce is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. It's against a YouTuber, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly to make it happen?
Tried to clarify when asked about Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. He explained that if he were Tank, he would consider it from two sides. From the business side, it makes sense because of exposure and financial opportunity. However, as a fighter, Stevenson admitted he personally would not accept such a bout. His comments stressed the difference between boxing for business and boxing for pride. While critics claim his sparring role with Paul appears questionable, Shakur openly acknowledges that financial matters often decide such choices, separating career interests from competitive spirit. He notes that modern boxing often blurs credibility with entertainment. During the press conference, sparks erupted between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis once they squared off. Both ended up shoving each other.
So can you blame a man for taking that opportunity? Because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
It's two sides of that. Like,
okay.
It just depends. Like, as a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont, and then the Jake Paul fight is presented, you may not make as much money, or the fight may not be as lucrative as it was before you lost. So as a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man,
your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
Fighter with my integrity.
Yeah, but isn't there a price for everything, Shakur? Like, even if you did had a draw with somebody and you were offered 10 times more than you ever, I don't know what the number is, but it's a lot more than he's ever made.
Causing instant reactions from media and fans. However, many believe this confrontation was staged for hype rather than genuine dislike. In today's boxing, these altercations are commonly designed to create viral attention and sell pay-per-view. The shove between Jake and Tank plays directly into the storyline of the bout being spectacle and contest. The build-up questions whether the bigger man can impose power against a smaller but sharper opponent, or whether skill and speed defeat size. Such drama guarantees casual fans will remain curious to tune in. Despite all the theatrics, insiders maintain that Gervonta
Southpaw orthodox matchup, left hand down the pipe. You can even see here, I'm not even trying to do the whole body language breakdown, but you could even see Tank could get under that left hand because he's 5-0. He could roll under that left hand, and here comes the brick hand over the top. If he lands something like that in 10 ounces, I'm going to tell you this. Jake's 200 and something pounds. That's still going to hurt at the very least, and who knows what, because Tank's got ridiculous power. So Jake, a little sloppy on the push there. He got pushed. He wanted to get it back. There's something to be taken away from that, but lines up perfectly for a counter left hand. And you even see his promoter here is kind of grabbing his left hand because Tank wanted to let it fly. And Jake backed up a little bit. He said, oh, and Tank comes with that. Tank, man. Tank said, where I'm from, the bullies get bullied. All right, dude, there you go. Listen, takeaways from this thing, I don't know. Tank seemed to have a little bit more energy today. He seemed to be more lively. Him going back and forth with the media, with Jay Leon, with Jake, with Aiden Ross. There seemed to be a bit more energy today. That's all I really asked for. So in terms of, selling us on something, sure. Better job today from both guys. Jake, seemed a bit more locked in here with Tank as well. They had a little bit more fun. Tank going after Nikisa was pretty funny. But listen, this doesn't change anything in my mind. The 10-ounce gloves doesn't really change anything to me. I mean, again, I think that's a bad idea for Tank, more so because even if Jake doesn't land clean, those are 10-ounce gloves, still going to hurt. Tank is still punching in gloves that are 2 ounces heavier than he normally uses, so I don't know how that's a win for him. The $2 million bet almost certainly won't happen, which I didn't think would in the first place, but Tank pretty much confirmed it. And we're all left with the same kind of idea that we thought about this to begin with. This is an entertainment exhibition that we know is going to draw a ton of eyeballs. I'm going to watch, and there's going to be great high-level competition boxing on the underneath card. And even in the main event, if something is to happen, if someone is to get knocked out, it will go mega viral, and both these guys are good.
Despite the hype-driven promotion, insiders stress Gervonta Davis is taking matters seriously. Observers note his training and demeanor, suggesting Tank is fully locked in. They emphasize that the stakes are greater than some realize. Beating Jake Paul would earn Davis not just money, but a wider audience. Experts warned Paul not to overlook Tank like he has older names such as Mike Tyson in promotional talks. Unlike retired legends, Davis is in his prime and feared for his aggression inside the ropes. If Paul enters casually, the consequences could be severe. Davis's focused preparation proves he knows both the payday and the risk of losing to a YouTuber turned boxer. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next.